by Major League Baseball. Any reproduction or other commercial use of this recording, in whole or in part, is prohibited.
With the fourth with an unearned run off winning pitcher Pedro Borbon. So again, that final at Wrigley Field, the only afternoon game of the majors. The Reds 8 and the Cubs 3. Real good size right-hander taking on the Oriole Ball Club tonight at the Big A in Anaheim. He is 6'5". He's only 24 years of age and he weighs 200 pounds. And he's right-hander Chris Knapp. His battery mate tonight will be Brian Downing. And as he's still taking his tune-up tosses, let's run the Angel infield for you. From left to right, from third to first, it'll be Lansford, Anderson, Chalk, and Rudy. In the Angel outfield tonight, a familiar fellow and a great guy, Merv Rettenmund in left field tonight. Rick Miller in center, and Lyman Bostock is the right fielder. Orioles have paid one other visit to this ballpark this year, and it was a 2-game winning visit. Back in early June, the Orioles played 2 games and won both by scores of 6-2 and 8-6. All right, hope we can have some fun for you tonight from Anaheim, California. Here we go, and here comes the California Angel right-hander Knapp. He's low for a ball to get this ball game underway. Harlow starts this series of baseball batting .232. With a slow windup, kicks in his 1-0 pitch, is outside on the corner. It just found the corner. He saw it, caught off the end of it. 1 ball, 1 strike. The next delivery, breaking stuff a little bit low from Knapp. 2 balls, 1 strike. Knapp has as slow a movement of his arms in his windup as anybody you'll see in the American League. Now, he doesn't waste a lot of time between pitches, but his windup takes quite a while. The 2-1 fouled off the end of the Harlow bat. Sometimes, if you haven't seen a fellow with this kind of style, it might take a given ball club 1 or 2 visits through the order before they become accustomed to his style of windup. Bostock in right gives up the right field line. Rettenmund in left plays to the left field line. Here's a pitch under the knees. Downing thought he had the 3rd strike. Instead, it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. People still coming into the Big A at Anaheim. And the Angels and the Red Sox just finished drawing 3 banner crowds for the series, won by the Red Sox 2-1. 3-2 to Harlow. Swing fouls it back right on the screen with a late cut. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Starting play tonight in their division, 11.5 games back of the Red Sox. Boston has now won 76 games. The payoff again to Harlow is low, and he has a leadoff walk. Harlow walks on a 3-2 pitch. Now Oriole catcher and number 2 batter Rick Dempsey. Coming into tonight's action, and this for Knapp is his 21st start. He had walked 42 batters in 129 innings. In his 20 starts, he's only able to finish 4 times. Knapp born in Cherry Point, North Carolina. Years ago, better known, I guess, as a Great Marine Air Corps Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina. Dempsey batting at .266. Well, Knapp quickly now gets acquainted with Harlow with a toss over to first baseman Joe Rudy. Harlow with just an average lead at first base. Knapp setting over the belt. Swing and a miss to his strong slider. No balls, 1 strike. When the Orioles played here in early June, Dempsey made 4 trips to the plate and got 2 hits. The Orioles on the West Coast this year have won 9 of the 10 games they've played. Dempsey down, a cutting strike and waiting again. Takes on the outside corner. A late strike call by McCoy. No balls, 2 strikes. be kind of silently vehement. He left the batter's box, didn't say anything, but his eyes just glared at the plate umpire McCoy. There's another toss to first base by Knapp. Strike two pitch might be coming. Here it is. It's low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Knapp, who turns 25 years of age next month, comes in with a fastball, loops foul beyond the line of first base near the box seat, and grabbed by Rudy within 2 strides of banging the box seat railing. But he had some room to grab it. So Dempsey retired on a foul pop-up to first. He's the first out of the ball game, and to take on Chris Knapp, here's left fielder Pat Kelly. Acquired by the Angels from the White Sox last winter. He came here with Brian Downing and Dave Frost in exchange for Bobby Bonds, Thad Bosley, and Richard Dotson. Last year with the White Sox, Knapp had problems completing starts. In fact, last year he started 26 ball games and finished only 4. Well, he's playing games again with Harlow's lead as he goes over to Rudy. And deals, and it's a strike at the knees. Well, we're going to have to hold up our calls a bit if plate umpire McCoy keeps up this routine. He's been late calling strikes. Kelly down a strike and waiting the next delivery with Harlow aboard. Harlow takes off. The pitch is foul back. So Harlow is feeding to second on the cutting foul ball off the bat of Kelly. No balls, 2 strikes. Chris Knapp was an outstanding amateur athlete. Matter of fact, he was Athlete of the Year 7 years ago at a high school in St. Joseph, Missouri. As a prep school pitcher, he was involved in 21 decisions and won 20 of them. Waiting the strike 2 offering. You'll have to wait again because there's a move at Harlow. The White Sox knew that Knapp had potential, but they wanted to get their mitts on Bobby Bonds, so they had to give him up. Fastball low, 1 ball, 2 strikes. I would say that with the exception of Nolan Ryan, the Orioles are looking at the hardest thrower on the California staff. Knapp forward, 1-2. Swing and a miss at a high, hard one. Knapp gets his first strikeout and out number 2 of the ballgame. Ken Singleton now to oppose the right-hander. Ken batting .294, 16 home runs, 60 RBIs. A couple of years from now, when we come back to broadcast baseball out of the Big A in Anaheim, California, and we sit back of home plate and look over towards the fences, anywhere we look, this is going to be a different ballpark. In the next couple of years, they are going to add about 30,000 seats here. They're going to triple deck the area back of the fences. Pitches outside, ball 1. The reason, of course, and perhaps the only reason, is because effective in 1980, this will be the new home of the NFL's Los Angeles Rams. The throw to first base, and there again is Harlow. The seating capacity in 1980 will go up to 75,000. The 1-0 is much too low, ball 2. The plans are to triple deck the open sections of the outfield. So that's going to do a number of things in this ballpark. It's going to cut off the view of the beautiful mountain areas 20 or 30 miles away. And it's also going to make this a much better hitter's park. The 2-0 coming, and it's low outside, ball 3. to Ken Singleton with Harlow at first base. He had a leadoff walk. He now walks off the bag with 2 outs. On the 3-0 pitch, it is again low and away, and Singleton draws the walk with 2 outs. Harlow paces to second base, and it brings out the skipper, young Jim Fregosi. Now, Fregosi says he does not have a contract for 1979, but that he has been told by the management, I guess specifically that means Buzzy Bavasi, or the big boss himself, Gene Autry, that he will be the manager next year, but he doesn't have a contract for it. With 2 on and 2 away, here's first baseman and a native of Los Angeles, Eddie Murray. He had quite a series here against the Angels in June. In fact, 6 hits for 9 trips. 2 on for Murray now to pick up with 2 gone. Harlow with his lead at second, and Singleton with a longer edge at first base with Rudy deep and off the line. Low and away, ball 1. To Downing. He has yet to set and yet to look back at Harlow. Now he does look back. Fires a foul tip on the big swing by Eddie. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, if you're starting a free weekend or tonight starting a week or more of vacation, we hope you have a good time. I've been in here too long. I'm looking at this fellow much too long to suit me, and he strides out. Knapp watching the fingering signs of Downing. The 1-1 to Murray. Swings and pops it up towards third base. Langford is behind the bag in fair ground, and he makes the grab for the last out. Murray pops to the third baseman Lansford to retire the side. No runs, no hits, 2 left. After 1/2 inning, the Orioles nothing, and the Angels are now coming up.
Mike Ivey smacked a pinch-hit home run with Marcil on base with 2 out in the 9th inning tonight to give the San Francisco Giants a 6-5 victory over the Philadelphia Phillies. Gary Maddox doubled home Mike Schmidt for the Phillies' final run in the 9th. Maddox then stole third, was easily tagged out to end the game when he tried to steal home. The homer was Ivey's 9th of the year and 4th as a pinch hitter. Ivey is now 11 for 26 as a pinch hitter with 19 RBIs. Darrell Evans doubled off losing pitcher Tug McGraw 8-5 with 1 out in the 9th. Hill reached the fielder's choice, and Ivey, hitting for Roger Metzger, blasted a 2-1 pitch into the left field stands. Gary Lavelle now 10-9, picked up the win with 1 2/3 innings on relief. So the Giants have won. That moves them to a half game of the league-leading Dodgers in the West. The Giants are now 71-51. The Dodgers 71-50. And the Dodgers are playing at New York tonight. And I don't believe we have a final on that. We do not. We should shortly. The game has been underway now for some time. Approximately a couple of hours. Elsewhere, we have a final score. Milwaukee defeated Detroit 2-0. Larry Sorensen scattered a hit, and Gorman Thomas lined a 2-out double in the second to provide all of the runs the Brewers needed. The victory was the 6th straight for the Brewers, moved them to a 1.5 games ahead of Detroit in the battle for third place in the American League East.
Well, the Boston-Oakland game is underway tonight in Northern California at the Oakland Coliseum. The Red Sox already have a 2-0 lead on a Jim Rice home run. The Boston Muscle Man now has 30 home runs for the year. New York at Seattle just getting underway with Ed Figueroa against the Mariners and former Orioles Paul Mitchell. For the Angels, batting leadoff tonight with Bobby Grich benched and playing second base Dave Chalk, and McGregor finds the plate that quickly for a strike 1 call. Scotty in his 24th start and trying to gain his 13th win and pitching before a lot of friends. He's on the inside corner for a strike 2 call to Chalk. Texas at City tonight. The Rangers lead 4-3 in the 7th. Detroit at Milwaukee. The Brewers lead 2-0 in the 8th. Chicago has defeated Cleveland 7-1. Dave Chalk, a right-hand batter, had a mark of 274. The two-strike offering by McGregor. Breaking ball hit high to left center field. Kelly cutting over. Kelly's going to run it down and puts it away. Chalk is out number 1. Toronto playing in Minnesota tonight. The Twins are leading 1-0 in the 6th inning. Goltz against Underwood. In a National League day game, which had 4 home runs, Cincinnati whacked the Chicago Cubs 8-3 at Wrigley Field. A day game witnessed by more than 33,000. And they saw the visiting Reds walk away with an 8-3 win. Redmond, right-hand swinger, takes a strike. Ford Baldwin, the winner today in Chicago. Roberts, the Cub loser. Cincinnati home runs by Johnny Bench and George Foster. Chicago homers by Kingman and Trio. Strike 1 to Redmond. Bird swings and it's strike 2 for McGregor. Tonight in the National League, the 9th inning at Philadelphia. And the Giants just had 2 runs in the top of the 9th. They lead the Phillies 6-4 after 8.5. Redmond behind. He's in a 2-strike hole and waiting. The next delivery by the left-hander. Grounded to the right side. Second baseman Dower bobbles it, recovers, then throws out Redmond by a step. Dower, for just a moment, got handcuffed and grabbed it cleanly and threw cleanly. Lyman Bostock, the Angel right fielder now. At New York tonight, the Dodgers lead the Mets going to the 9th inning. It's the Dodgers 7, the Mets 3. In that ball game, Steve Garvey has hammered his 17th home run of the year. San Diego beat Montreal tonight in Canada 3-2. Eric Rasmussen won it for the Padres. Steve Rogers, the ace of the Expo staff, lost it. At Pittsburgh in the 8th tonight, the Pirates 6, Houston 3. Strike 1 call to Bostock, a left-hand batter. This fellow's hit well this year against the Orioles. Tell you how well, 9 for 15 is Bostock. Now the check swing grounder right back to McGregor, runs halfway to first, flips it underhanded to Murray, and the Angels go quickly 1-2-3. After 1 inning tonight in California, the Orioles nothing, the Angels nothing.
At Olympic Stadium tonight in Montreal, losing pitcher Steve Rogers walked in the tying run, and pinch hitter Gene Tennis drove in the winning tally with a sacrifice fly in the 7th inning, giving the San Diego Padres a 3-2 victory over the Montreal Expos. The Padres trailed 2-1, entering the 7th, with Rogers 13-8, loaded the bases by giving up singles to Darrell Thomas and pinch hitter Jerry Turner, and then a walk to Gene Richards. Rogers walked Ozzie Smith to tie the score. Then Tennis followed with a long sacrifice fly off Darrell Knowles. The Padres scored in the 6th when Dave Winfield hit into a fielder's choice to score Smith with walk and advanced to third base on a Broderick Perkins single. The Expos' first run came in the 3rd when Ellis Valentine single home Chris Fire. Montreal made it 2-0 in the 5th when Tony Perez grounded out to score Andre Dawson. Eric Rasmussen hurled the first 6 innings to improve his record to 12-9. Mark Lee worked the final 3 frames to pick up his first save. In tennis at Toronto on Friday, top-seeded Eddie Dibbs and second-seed Brian Gottfried gained semifinal berth at the Canadian Open Tennis Championships. Dibbs earned his spot with an easy 6-1, 6-2 quarterfinal victory over John McEnroe. It was a little tougher for Gottfried, who rallied to beat Colombia's Ivan Molina 5-7, 6-3, and 6-2. The other semifinalists are young, unseeded players who upset established veterans. Argentina's 20-year-old Jose Luis Clerc stunned Hungary's Valis Tarasi by 6-2, 6-2.
Well, here's another fella from this part of the country, from Southern California. And in the Oriole case, their third baseman, Doug DeCinces. During the first Oriole trip, Doug went hitless here, went 0 for 4. Against the league at the moment, 265. Doug 20 homers, 50 RBIs. Now Knapp walked 2 last inning, struck out 1. We have no score. Marched up, falls low outside. Ball 1 to Doug DeCinces. DeCinces, Lee May, and then Rich Dower in the Orioles second. Orioles had a mile threat. On the other hand, McGregor set down the Angels in order. Slider is a knee-high strike to Doug. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Orioles this season, home and on the road against West Coast teams, have been slightly phenomenal. They've won 16 of 20 games against teams out west. The 1-1 delivery, DeCinces with a slow ground ball foul towards the Angel dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Against Seattle, the Orioles are 6-1. Against Oakland, the ball club is 6-0. Against these Angels, the Orioles are 4 wins, 3 defeats. A lot of people here in Anaheim tonight, specifically the front office of the Angels and their ball players, mighty interested in the Texas-Kansas City game, and why not? The 1-2. Foul back. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the Angel division, they are hot, of course, and have been hot on the heels in recent weeks. Hot on the heels of the Royals. Kansas City leads the Angels coming in tonight by a game. The 1-2 pitch. Hit high towards the gap in left center field. Rettenmund has it covered. Now backs up a couple of paces and makes the put out. The Angels have won 66, but the Angels have dropped 3 more games than the Royals. Overall separated by a game, but there is a 3-game difference in the loss column. Here's Lee May. The Oriole DH watches the Blazers saw off the inside corner for strike 1. Lee May, a .242 batter. He was 3 for 10 in the first Oriole visit here in June. Strike 1 pitch by Knapp. Slider, stand out and miss. Strike 2. Rich Dower's on deck. Of course, he's an alum of the University of Southern California. The 2-strike pitch on the way to Lee May. Taken outside. He almost pulled the trigger. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rettenmund pulled around towards the left field line and way back deep on Lee May. In comes Knapp. 1-2. High foul. Way back upstairs and out of play behind the plate. With both feet of the rubber, looking right in and Downing. In he comes again to Lee May. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Out number 2. Strikeout number 2 for Knapp. Rich Dower to the plate. 1 for 3 here in June, and 3 walks. Comes in against the Angels, batting .271. Dealing the right-hand batting Dower. Change-up is a strike at the knees. No balls, 1 strike. Dower in the box. Belanger kneels on deck. Dower takes on Knapp with the bases empty and 2 gone. Swings and fouls it off the mask of McCoy, and that bounces McCoy right back on his heels. He's got the mask off, shaking his head, and clearing off the cobwebs. Third, set halfway. The same for the other corner man, Rudy, but Rudy is far off the line. Strike 2 to Dower. Swing and a miss. The side is up and down in order. Knapp has 2 strikeouts in the inning, 3 for the night. In the middle of the second, Orioles nothing, the Angels nothing.
Kathy Whitworth and Sandra Post share the lead after 2 rounds of an LPGA golf tournament in Dearborn, Michigan. Whitworth and Post were co-leaders of the $150,000 tournament after Thursday's opening round as well. Well, today, both women fired 1 under par 71s. Whitworth bogeyed her final hole, birdied her final hole, then gained the tie for the lead when Post bogeyed her last hole. That 36-hole total is 140, 3 under par. Debbie Austin is 1 stroke behind leaders at 141. Austin had a 3 under par 68 today, the best round of the tournament so far. Pat Myers and Debbie Michelin are the only other golfers who have broken par. They're at 143, 3 strokes off the pace. The third round of play is slated for Saturday. At Harrison, New York, Ed Sabo, a French player who admits he's not good enough to win yet, shot a 3 under par 68 today. Take a surprising 1-stroke lead over Jack Nicklaus at the halfway point of the Westchester Golf Classic. Let's pause now for station identification. This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Second, Don Baylor, Joe Rudy, and then third baseman Carney Lampster. A lot of Baltimore and Baltimore area people in the ballpark tonight. McGregor to the right-hand swinging Baylor. Foulback, swing one. Kim and Dex Tompkins, Alan Nathan, Rick Smith, Mike McRae, and Don Sheriff all stopped by the booth a couple of hours ago and wanted to be remembered to all their friends back in Baltimore. The 0-1 Del Baylor fouled off the end of the bat and trickling over towards the Orioles first base dugout. Kim and Dex Tompkins, Alan Nathan, Rick Smith, Mike McRae, and Don Sheriff are all on a big vacation trip and spending their days in this state. Strike 2 deal to Baylor. Low, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oriole ball fan who lives in Overlays at the ballpark tonight. That's Larry Chess. McGregor to Baylor again. Inside low, and the count runs 2-2 to Baylor. Dempsey, and staring too long, and Baylor just moves the feet around and gets impatient. Now we're ready, and here comes Scotty. Here's a high pop fly over towards. Sensei is backing. He's 1 step to the outfield grass and has it in the glove. Baylor skies to the third baseman. Now third baseman Joe Rudy. In this month of August. So he's got 59 for the year, along with 11 home runs. McGregor, swing and a miss at the changeup. No balls, 1 strike to Joe Rudy. Now, Rudy didn't do much against the Orioles here in June. In fact, he just went 1 for 9. No score in the game.
difficulties with our feed. Please stand by.
Defensively against the Redskins. To go threw the game away. Committed 2 errors last night and threw it away. Breaking ball, grounded wide of third base. Belanger has it, hurries and gets it there in time, and Rudy is out number 2. Baylor was gone on a pop-up. Rudy dives on a grounder to short to bring up third baseman Barney Lansford. One of the bright newcomers in the... He went 3 for 3 against the... Right now he's batting .277. 2 out, nobody on. In the Angels' second. Hard stuff thrown low and away. This is one of the good-looking rookies of 1978. McGregor to the right-hand swinger. Line foul, backing out of play. Lansford does not have the stats of, say, Milwaukee's Paul Molitor. And unless he has a sensational final 6 weeks of the season, he will not be the American League Rookie of the Year. Right now, it should be that Molitor kid. The 1-1 coming. High, 2 balls, 1 strike. Third base. He may be a step behind the bag for the 2-1 to Lansford. Here's a chopper by the mound to the glove side of the shortstop. Belanger brings it down. Hurries the throw. He just got it there. He just got it there. And for 2 straight innings now, McGregor sets the out in order. After 2 complete. Baltimore nothing. California nothing.
More on the Westchester golf tournament. We didn't get through it. Good enough to win yet. Today shot a 3 under par 68. That's the surprising 1-stroke lead over Jack Nicklaus. That's the halfway point at the Westchester golf tournament. The shy, self-depreciating Sabo joked, "Maybe I shouldn't even be here," and confessed to being stunned at his front-running position in the $300,000 tournament. Today's 68, combined with an opening round 67, put the 29-year-old Sabo at 7 under 135 with some 20 players within 3 shots of the lead. Nicklaus has an unspectacular 69 for his 136 total. Jerry Tate, Gibby Gilbert, and David Graham all fired 68s on a warm, sunny day to stand tied with Mark Hayes and Wally Armstrong at 137. Among a huge group bunched at 138 were Tom Watson with a 68, Hubert Green 68, Gil Morgan 67, Tom Kite 70, and first-round leader Barry Jacob 73. Sabo has earned only $42,000 in 4 years on the tour, while first prize at Westchester amounts to $60,000. A couple of items in sports before we go back to the ball game. Silver Olympic champions took to the Winner's Stand International Track Meet in Brussels Friday. The 400-meter dash went to a Cuban. Arnie Robinson, by the way, won his specialty, that being the long jump. And rookie running back Elvis Peacock of the Rams underwent surgery for torn ligaments today.
Friends, the next baseball bargain night back at Memorial Stadium will take place Monday night, the 28th of this month, when the Orioles meet the Oakland A's at 7:30. On Monday, the 28th of August, everyone who buys an upper reserve seat that night receives $1 off the normal price. So it's a $3.25 value for the Oakland game, and your seat is only $2.25. In the Oriole third, here's Mark Belanger facing the slow-winding right-hander Knapp. Foul back with a late swing. Strike 1. Belanger comes in with a mark at 202. Mark made but 1 plate appearance here in June, and that was a walking appearance. Knapp with a big slow windup. His leg lift and pitch is a strike call. Belanger looking back at McCoy, just staring at him. He thought it was a low strike call. No balls, 2 strikes. Now McCoy is wearing the inside protector. And normally when umpires wear the inside protector, they do tend to call low strikes. Next deal to Belanger. Low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2 to Belanger from the right-hander. out 3 in a row. He got May and Dower on strikes back-to-back for the last 2 outs in the second. And now Belanger on swings for the first out in the third. 4 strikeouts for Knapp in 2 in the third innings already. He's walked 2, has neither given up a hit nor a run. We have a scoreless game with Harlow batting. All right, Knapp is going to kick and deal, and does. Changeup, wrapped on the ground, off the glove of first baseman Rudy, and it's out to right field for a base hit. Rudy gave it quite a bit to his right side, and then reached the mitt across the body to try to grab it backhand style. He did get the mitt on it, but the ball glanced off the mitt and rolled to right field. So Harlow gives the Orioles their first hit, and it's also the game's first hit. Rick Dempsey to the plate. Knapp got Dempsey on a foul pop-up to Rudy in the opening inning. Baseman Rudy is up because he's holding. Lansford is third up near the bag. The runner takes off. A ground ball to short. They can't make a play at second. The shortstop, Anderson, does throw out Dempsey. Had Harlow not been running, that might have been a double play ground ball. But with Harlow running, the shortstop's only play was to cut loose the put-out toss to Rudy to get Dempsey. Dempsey out number 2. Harlow stands at second, and Pat Kelly will stand at the plate. Kelly was Knapp's first scalp of the ball game. He struck him out for out number 2 in the first inning. 2 fine Oriole fans here tonight from Catonsville, Maryland, and they are Mr. and Mrs. John Henkel, vacationing out in California. Harlow is 2 out off second. Fastball jumps low inside, ball 1. Blanketing the plate, he begins to stare out at Knapp. Knapp's been staring back at Harlow. Now he focuses into the plate. Knapp from the belt with a 1-0 pitch. Way inside. In fact, Downing dropped to both knees to come up with it. 2 balls, no strike. First time the Orioles played here in June, they had quite a ball game. Won the game in the 10th inning, scored 4 runs, broke a 2-2 tie, and won it going away 6-2. Now, neither team has scored tonight. Knapp with a look back at Harlow, and a 2-0 to Kelly. High pop foul, back towards the booth. It won't make the booth, but it does bounce just to one side of it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Seem kind of strange 2 years from now, after all the years we've been coming here, looking beyond the center field fence and just seeing some parking areas. But 2 years from now, all we will see is feet because of the Rams coming in here for NFL games beginning in 1980. Harlow off second. Knapp to the plate, 2-1. Swinging a foul. Right back, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tell you one thing, the scenery will not be anywhere near as good as it is right now. The scenery here is outstanding, like between 6 and 7:30 at night when you're at the ballpark right before game time. Nice hills and mountains in the background. Up his routine of taking quite a bit of time between pitches to Kelly with a potential lead run at second. 2-2, here it is. Swing and a miss, 5 strikeouts for the right-hander in 3 innings of work. We move to the bottom of the third. Baltimore nothing, California nothing.
Here's some more finals in the National League at Shea Stadium. Steve Garvey, continuing his assault on New York pitching, smashed a 3-run homer and scored 3 times to lead the LA Dodgers to a 7-3 triumph over the Mets. Garvey 10 for 22 against Mets pitching this year. Hit a 17 homer and 3rd against New York in the 4th inning, following singles by Tommy John and Reggie Smith. Garvey's blast to left center field gave the Dodger first baseman 10 RBIs against the Mets this season through 6 games. Garvey also lashed an RBI single in the first inning and scored on Lee Lacy's single. Nino Espinosa, 9-11, walked 4 consecutive batters in the third inning to force in the Dodgers' third run. Los Angeles took advantage of 2 of the Mets' 4 errors to score its final run, the 7th. New York scored all 3 of its runs in the 4th off John, now 14-9. John Stearns hit his 14th home run, a 2-run shot, and the Mets closed within 6-3 on Elliott Maddox's RBI single. Final again, Dodgers 7, Mets 3.
Well, for those of you who enjoyed the Dave McNally years in Baltimore, you can enjoy a welcome home to Dave McNally Thursday night, August the 31st. That'll be the night that Mr. McNally will be inducted into the Orioles Baseball Hall of Fame, with Dave's induction ceremony beginning that night at 7 o'clock, 30 minutes before the Oriole ball game against the Yankees. That's the night for Dave McNally, Thursday, August the 31st, with the Yankees in town. Well, the Orioles in town here in Anaheim as Scott McGregor goes to the lower third of the Angel order. He has the plate and takes the knees of Downing for strike 1. Downing swinging to a batting tune of 276. 5 homers, 34 runs batted in. Strike 1 by McGregor. The slow curve bounced toward short. Belanger with an easy hop and a good throw, and he retires Downing by at least 2 steps and probably 3. So McGregor has run through 7 straight Angel batters in a scoreless game. And here's young shortstop Jim Anderson. So far is strictly for McGregor and Knapp. Only 1 hit in the ball game, and the Orioles have that one. Harlow had at the top of this inning. McGregor winds and deals. Line shot to the gap in right center field, and Singleton cuts it off. By cutting it off, he prevents Anderson from reaching second or maybe even third. A low line drive single that finds the outfield and almost went through the gap. 1 on with 1 away, and now the hit columns are equal. Here's center fielder Rick Miller. Richard Allen, Rick Miller, until this year, always wore the Red Sox uniform or the uniform of a Boston Park Club. McGregor to the left-hand swinging outfielder. In comes Scotty. Ground ball to third. Throw to second. 1. Throw to first. Orioles get a double play. To Sensei, to Dower, the middleman, and then Murray on the tail end of the double play. The third inning is in the book tonight. At the end of 3. Orioles nothing, Angels nothing.
More finals. Word in from Stream River Stadium is that pitcher Jim Bibby hit his first Major League home run. Dave Parker supported him with 3 hits and 2 RBIs to lead the Pittsburgh Pirates to a 6-3 victory over the Houston Astros. Bibby now 7-7 on the year. Lasted only until the 6th inning, allowing 10 hits and 2 runs. Kent Tekulve, the 4th Buck pitcher, picked up his 21st save. Omar Marino, triple home run, scored on Parker's grounder in the first. Marking the 7th straight game, the Bucks scored in the opening inning. Run-scoring singles by Parker and Willie Stargell gave the Pirates a 2-0 lead in the second. Houston scored in the third when pinch hitter Dave Lanstroy triple came home on Terry Poole's ground out. Jose Cruz hit his 9th homer of the season in the 4th to cut the margin to 4-2 before Bibby unloaded his homer in the bottom of the 4th. Dale Berra made it 6-2 with an RBI single in the 5th, and Dennis Walling's sacrifice fly in the 6th rounded out the Houston scoring. At St. Louis, George Hendrick single home 2 runs during a 4-run 5th inning to give the St. Louis Cardinals a 5-1 victory over the Atlanta Braves. Wayne Garrett led off the Cardinals' 5th with a double. Jerry Morales followed with a single. Garrett scored on the sacrifice fly by Mike Phillips. Lou Brock walked. Gary Templeton doubled home Morales, and Hendrick drove in Brock and Templeton. St. Louis starter Pete Vukovich allowed 8 hits in 7 innings and lifting his record to 11-9 and lowering his league-leading ERA to 2.17. The losing pitcher was Preston Hanna, whose record now in the year is 7 wins, 12 losses. He allowed all 5 runs. As we said, he took the loss. He walked Keith Hernandez the 6th. Then was relieved by Jamie Easterly, who allowed a run-scoring double by pinch hitter Ken Reed. That final again from Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. The Cardinals beat the Braves. The score there was 5-1. Cardinals now in the year of 51 and 71.
Well, we've had 2 pitches to begin the top of the 4th inning. They've both been moved out of the strike zone by Chris Knapp. He's behind Ken Singleton and coming back with a 2-0 delivery. It's on the way. Fouled off the mask of the catcher. 2 balls, 1 strike. Singleton's been up 1 time, walked with 2 out in the 1st inning. The totals at the end of 3 tonight, exactly the same. The Orioles, no runs, 1 hit, no errors.
The starter Pete Vukovich allowed 8 hits in 7 innings and lifting his record to 11-9 and lowering his league-leading ERA to 2.17. The losing pitcher was Preston Hanna, whose record now in the year is 7 wins, 12 losses. He allowed all 5 runs. As we said, he took the loss. He walked Keith Hernandez the 6th. Then was relieved by Jamie Easterly, who allowed a run-scoring double by pinch hitter Ken Reed. That final again from Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. The Cardinals beat the Braves. The score there was 5-1. Cardinals now in the year of 51 and 71.
Well, we've had 2 pitches to begin the top of the 4th inning. They've both been moved out of the strike zone by Chris Knapp. He's behind Ken Singleton and coming back with a 2-0 delivery. It's on the way. Fouled off the mask of the catcher. 2 balls, 1 strike. Singleton's been up 1 time, walked with 2 out in the 1st inning. The totals at the end of 3 tonight, exactly the same. The Orioles, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and give the carbon copy to the Angels. Their totals the same. Right-hand thrower to the left-hand batter, Knapp to Singleton. The 2-1 pitch is strike 2 call, and that was better than a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. 2-2 to Ken Singleton. The arms extended. There's that big windup. The kick and 2-2er. Ground ball chopped toward short. Charged by Anderson from behind the grass. He's got the good gun. He rifled a foot-out throw to Joe Rudy to get Ken Singleton for the 1st out. Anderson to Rudy gets Singleton out, and here's Eddie Murray. Eddie had his 8th home run of the year here, the 5th of June. That came in the 10th inning. It broke a tie. Had that home run batting right-handed and whacked it off lefty Dave LaRoche. He's facing the right-hander Knapp for the 2nd time this evening. Knapp is low outside, ball 1. Murray popped up in the opening inning for the last out. Knapp's 1-0. The kick and the next pitch. Foul tip in and out of the middle of the catcher Downing. 1 ball, 1 strike. That Knapp was born in Cherry Point, North Carolina. More recently, he has lived in Sarasota, Florida. 1-1 to the switch-hitting Eddie Murray. Strokes a long drive deep to right field. This is gone. This is definitely gone. It is gone for a home run. As soon as that came off the bat, a 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight into the plate would not have stopped it. It went way out to the fence over right field for a solo home run and a 1-0 Oriole lead. Softstock, the right fielder, did not move. He just looked and admired the home run whack, and what a wallop it was. Cal Ripken. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The next delivery, Philly May. High pop-up, foul behind the plate. Downing back to the screen. Can't get it. It's on the screen. Now, they haven't posted any measurements on the Murray and DeCinces home run. I'm pretty certain the Murray wallop over the fence in right field was 400 feet and maybe deeper. DeCinces to deep left field was close to 400. Knapp starts his windup and in he comes to Lee. High pop-up, back to the plate foul. This time the catcher Downing has room and puts it in the big mitt. May out number 2. And Dower batting. Chris Knapp was on the Angels disqualified list until late July. Several days before that, he just walked away from the ball club and left town. Breaking stuff. He threw it hard for a knee-high strike. Texas at Kansas City playing the bottom of the 8th. The visiting Rangers lead the Royals 4-3. Slow changeup drilled foul to the second deck in left field. In the Texas KC game, the Rangers got 2 in the first, 2 in the fourth. Kansas City scored 3 in the 5th. The Royals have just failed to score as they posted the bottom of the 8th. So the Rangers up in the 9th and leading by a run. Strike 2 to Dower. High foul ball to the right side in the seat. The Boston Oakland game is in the bottom of the 3rd at Oakland. Boston 2, the A's nothing. On a first inning, 2-run homer by Jim Rice, who has now knocked in over 100 runs. The 0-2 to Dower. Is a line drive, base still, foul ball. It was behind the bag at first base and just bounced foul. Jim Fry is pointing on the line, telling the first base umpire Palermo it hit the line. And Palermo's saying, no, it just bounced off the line. And Palermo's going to win the argument over Jim Fry. Now Jim is going back to the spot where he believes the ball dropped. Turned away, now turns around and looks at it again. And now he looks at Palermo. Strike 2 pitch to Dower. Way outside. In fact, Downing didn't have a chance of reaching it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Toronto at Minnesota is in the bottom of the 9th at Bloomington. The Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead over the Twins. 1-2 offering to Dower. High fly ball to right field. Bostock about to wrap it up. He has made the put-out. But home runs by Murray and DeCinces give the Orioles a 2-run lead. At the end of 3.5, Orioles 2, Angels nothing.
Exhibition football tonight at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Quarterback Joe Theismann found tight end Reggie Haynes for a 39-yard gain on a broken pattern. Then followed it up with an 18-yard touchdown pass by Haynes to give the Washington Redskins a 17-16 NFL exhibition victory over the Baltimore Colts. Theismann, who played the second half after Billy Kilmer guided the Skins to a 10-10 halftime tie, scrambled and hit Haynes for the long gainer on a 3rd and 12 situation at the Redskins' 43 early in the 4th quarter. On the next play, Haynes broke over the middle, and Theismann's pass barely eluded Baltimore defender Norm Thompson. Mike Mosley kicked the conversion, which turned out to be the winning margin. The Colts, with second-string quarterback Bill Troop at the controls, scored with 2:59 remaining on a 5-yard run by Ron Lee, capping a 40-yard drive. But Tony Linhart's point-after kick hit the left upright, fell back, saving the Washington win. The Redskins are now 2-1 in exhibition play. The Colts are 0-3.
Well, in the California 4th inning against Scott McGregor, who carries a 2-0 lead, the Angels will swing Dave Chalk, Merv Retmund, and then Lyman Bostock. And before McGregor gets back to work, Cause for station identification on the Orioles Baseball Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Back with you in Anaheim, California tonight. Chalk, a right-hand batter. McGregor has given up just one hit through the first 3 innings. Now McGregor works. Chalk lines it to short. Belanger leaks up, and he's got it in the glove. The line drive was going over Belanger's head. He leaped straight up and grabbed it to take away a base hit from Chalk for out number 1. Now former Oriole and one of the more friendly guys we've ever met in this game. Left fielder Merv Rettenmund. Merv on the year, 3 for 7 against Oriole pitching. The only Angel base runner tonight, shortstop Jim Anderson with a base hit last inning, and then he was wiped out as Miller bounced into a double play. Low to Rettenmund, who was turning the body as if to lay it down. Ball 1. Merv grounded out, second to first in the first inning. Third base coach John McNamara has been flashing signs to Rettenmund. Here's McGregor with a 1-0 pitch. He's low ball 2. Now Merv resides in San Diego, and to get to the ballpark here in Anaheim on time because of the heavy mid-afternoon traffic, Merv told us that he has to leave his home in San Diego no later than 1:30 to get to the ballpark on time. The 2-0 delivery. Swings and fouls it back. 2 balls, 1 strike. He says he wouldn't mind living here in Anaheim, but he just likes San Diego that much better. San Diego does have the reputation of being a great place to live all year round. Gone, nobody on here in the bottom of the 4th. The wind-up and 2-1 pitch. High ball 3 to Rettenmund. McGregor starts tonight very strong because he retired the first 7 Angel batters. McGregor's got a 2-0 lead, and as he began to wind, Rettenmund had time call by plate umpire McCoy. Rettenmund has backed out of the box. Starts his rocky motion. The 3-1 pitch. He's got a strike. He cut the plate in half. Came right down the middle of it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The crowd tonight appears to be about 25,000. The payoff to the right-hand batter. Fouls it back in the netting. The Angels and Red Sox just finished drawing about 100,000 for a 3 straight single game. And the last we knew on the Red Sox, they're in Oakland tonight, batting in the 4th inning and tied 2-2. The payoff again is ball 4 to Rettenmund. He's a base runner with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th, and that'll bring up right fielder Lyman Bostock. Bostock would be the first to admit that he just had a miserable start this year. Got a big bonus and a big dollar contract as a free agent coming from Minnesota. Batted 150 for the month of April, but has been over 300 since. Rettenmund has a short lead. McGregor to Bostock with a slow, high breaking pitch. 1 ball, no strike. The walk served to Rettenmund, the first pass issued tonight by McGregor. McGregor figuring out Dempsey's side. Watches the runner, now deals. He's got a strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. There have been, in the early innings tonight, a number of complaints by both Angel batters and Oriole batters on the low strike zone of McCoy. Bostock deep to the box, waving the bat left-handed. He is not close to the plate. McGregor's 1-1. Curve fades outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. 4-game series from Toronto, has won again tonight. The Brewers shut out the Tigers at County Stadium, Milwaukee, 2-0. More than 27,000 turned out. Larry Sorensen scattered 8 hits to the Tigers, won the game 2-0. 3-1 to Bostock. Ground ball, first base side, and foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Now we have time to run the totals on the Brewer win tonight. Milwaukee 2 runs, 5 hits with no errors. The losing Tigers, no runs, 8 hits. The Tigers committed 1 error. Larry Sorensen the winner. He's 15-8 on the year. The Tiger youngster, Dave Roseman the loser. 6-7 on the year for Roseman. Another 3-2 by McGregor to the left-hand batting Bostock. The throw to first base, and they've got Rettenmund picked off. Murray throws to Belanger, who tags him out. McGregor was very patient. He figured, well, maybe Rettenmund's going to go. So I'm just going to keep my set at the belt and hope Rettenmund leans or hope that he goes. Well, Rettenmund went, and McGregor stayed set, fired to Murray. Murray ran Rettenmund towards Belanger, and then threw to Mark, who tagged out Rettenmund. The bases are empty with 2 outs, and there remains a 3-2 count to Bostock. Out of a full motion, here comes McGregor. Here's a high drive to center field. Harlow's running back with those long, lean legs. He's there, makes the catch for the last out. At the end of the 4th inning in Anaheim, the Orioles 2, the Angels nothing.
Let's check the individual stats right now in the majors going into the action today. In batting, in the American League, Rod Carew, Minnesota, 337, 147 hits and 436 times to plate. Followed by Jim Rice of the Red Sox, 321. Lou Pennell of the Yankees, 318. Al Oliver of Texas, 313. Then comes Brett of Kansas City, 311. Roberts of Seattle, 311. Bostock, 305. Munson of the Yankees and Yount of the Brewers, both 303. And Starr of the Tigers, 302. Batting leaders in the National League, Jeff Barrows, Atlanta, 320. Pete Rose, Cincinnati, 313. Teammate Concepcion of Cincinnati at 306. Smith of the Dodgers, 305. Madlock of the Giants, 305. Bo of the Phillies and Whitfield of the Giants, 304. Parker Pittsburgh, 303. Hello, averages are much lower this year than in the past, I believe. 299 for Hebner of the Phillies, 297 for Cromartie of the Expos. Also 297, Clark of the Giants, and Cruz of the Astros. Runs batted in the National League, Foster, Cincinnati, 89. Clark of the Giants, 84. Smith, Dodgers, 82. Garvey, Dodgers, 80. Parker, Pittsburgh, and Winfield, San Diego, 78. RBI leaders in the American League, Rice of Boston, 99. Starr for the Tigers, 98. Heisel, Milwaukee, 88. Thompson, Detroit, 81. And Thornton of Cleveland, 78.
Well, to the top of the 5th inning in Anaheim, Mark Belanger, Larry Harlow, then Rick Dempsey against 24-year-old Angel right-hander Chris Knapp. Orioles lead 2-0, and here's Knapp at work. Here's a high pop foul towards the Oriole dugout and then dumps in the seat. Strike 1. Well, for the first 4 innings of this game tonight, Angel players and Angel fans alike have had an eye on the scoreboard and an eye on the game. They'll no longer have an eye on the scoreboard because they found out that Texas has defeated Kansas City 4-3. Belanger down a strike and swings, and again it's fouled off to the right side. No balls, 2 strikes. So with Kansas City losing tonight, that means that if the Angels came back and won the game, California would be tied with Kansas City for first in the American League West. Knapp, strike 2 to Belanger. High pop-up back at second base. The second baseman Chalk is on the outfield grass and has it in the glove. Belanger has popped to the second baseman. 1 gone, and here's Larry Harlow. Harlow has walked and had a base hit off the glove of first baseman Rudy. Batting Oriole with the bases empty. Here's a bunt halfway to the mound. Knapp is there to smother it, throws in time, and Harlow's out by 1 step. Harlow tried to bunt his way on. He'd been on board the first 2 times up, but pushed it a little bit too hard towards the charging pitcher. Out number 2, and Dempsey. 6'5" lanky right-hander Chris Knapp. With his windup and first pitch to Dempsey, strike at the knees. Dempsey has fouled to first, bounced to short tonight. Knapp strike one pitch and the delivery. High, boy, that was a sailing fastball right to the chin. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dempsey just had a great ball game to begin this road trip. You might remember the Tuesday night, he went 4 for 5 at Seattle. The 1-1 to Dempsey. Inside to his belt line. 2 balls, 1 strike. The Orioles had licked the Seattle club 6 straight times and then dropped their first game this year to the Mariners Wednesday night in that Big King Dome. The 2-1. Inside, also high. 3 balls, 1 strike. Now, Knapp struggled as the plate jumped around against him in the first inning when he walked 2 batters. He has straightened out his control since that time. He's got to get a pitch in the strike zone now. 3-1 to Dempsey. He is in the strike zone to the inside corner, and the count goes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Larry McCoy is the ball strike man tonight. The other umpires, Steve Palermo, crew chief Don Denkinger, and Dave Phillips. 3-2 to Dempsey. High pop-up. It's in the infield. Third baseman Lansford cuts over behind the mound. Lansford has it in the glove, and there's a 1-2-3 fifth inning for Chris Knapp. At the end of 4 1/2, with the Angels coming up, Baltimore leads tonight 2-0.
Speaking of the categories in Major League Baseball, home run leaders in the American League, Jim Wright, who's led just about from the beginning, but he's getting some competition now from Larry Heisel of the Brewers. Wright has 29. Heisel has 28 home runs. Thomas, Milwaukee, 27. Baylor of California and Thornton of Cleveland, each 24. In the National League, Lazinski of the Phillies has 28. Foster, Cincinnati, and Smith of the Dodgers, 27. Parker, Pittsburgh, 23. And Kingman, Chicago, 21. Stolen bases, leaders in the American League, LaFleur, Detroit, 55 swipes. Felion, Oakland, and Cruz, Seattle, 42. Wills, Texas, 38. And Wilson of Kansas City, 35. In the National League, Marino, Pittsburgh, 50. Richard, San Diego, 33. Lopes, Dodgers, 32. Smith, San Diego, 31. DeJesus, Chicago. Cabell of Houston. Maddox of the Phillies. And Tavares of Pittsburgh, all at 26. We'll check pitching. Next break. ERA, leaders, strikeouts, and winners.
Well, in the National League tonight, both the Dodgers and the Giants have won. So the Dodgers keep a game ahead of the Giants. San Francisco won tonight by a score of 6-5, with Lavelle beating McGraw. 36,000, more than 36,000 in fact, turned out for that game at Philadelphia. Now the Dodgers stay a game in front because they just defeated the Mets at New York 7-3, where more than 26,000 turned out. Tommy John beat Nino Espinosa. Don Baylor starts off the Angels fifth, and McGregor starts him off high, ball 1. Baylor's been up 1 time. McGregor got him on a routine pop-up to third in the second. Baylor led off the second, the Angels second, and now he begins the Angels fifth. John swings, and that's a strike for McGregor. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Giant winning totals tonight at Philadelphia, 6 runs, 9 hits, 3 errors. The Phillies losing totals, 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors. McGregor's 1-1 deal to Baylor. Foul back, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mike Schmidt had a Philadelphia home run tonight to give him 15 for the year. Mike Ivey and veteran Willie McCovey had home runs for the Giants. Speaking of home runs, Baylor's got 24, along with 66 RBIs. McGregor just backed off the rubber. Now he's to the top again. In he comes to Don Baylor. Low, 2 balls, 2 strikes. San Diego beat Montreal tonight, 3-2 in Canada. Eric Rasmussen over Steve Rogers. The Pirates down Houston at Pittsburgh, 6-3. Bibby overruled. McGregor to Baylor, 2-2. Inside and almost hit him on the knee. St. Louis with a 5-1 victory tonight against Atlanta. Vukovic beat Hanna. They didn't turn out too big a crowd tonight for a Friday night game in St. Louis, just over 12,000. foul ball coming back to the feet off the third base side of the screen. In a National League day game, in case you missed this, Cincinnati stayed 3 back of the Dodgers. The Reds defeated the Cubs today in Chicago 8-3, and they had a Friday afternoon crowd of more than 33,000. Another payoff to Don Baylor. Swings a line hit to center field, right over the bag, and takes one hop to the leading Larry Harlow. A leadoff Don Baylor single in the Angels fifth. That's only the second hit off McGregor tonight, and only the third California runner. McGregor has not faced more than 3 batters in any inning. Even though Anderson had a 1-out hit in the third, Miller bounced into a double play. And even though Rettenmund had a 1-out walk in the fourth, he got picked off by McGregor. Baylor, a very strong, aggressive, alert base runner, on to begin the Angels fifth, and it's kind of shoved McGregor into some thinking positions against the ropes. The batter, Joe Rudy. Now, Rudy does not have the great average, but he's always been the good clutch hitter with runners on. Swings, checks his swing, and let's see if he checked it in time. First base umpire helping out. The plate umpire said he did. 1 ball, no strike. Rudy in the second inning grounded out. Belanger to Murray. McGregor trying to hold a 2-0 lead as he throws over to first base, and Baylor darts back to the outfield end of the bag. Oakland batting at the Coliseum in Oakland, California, in the bottom of the fourth, tied 2-2 with the Red Sox. The 1-0 pitch. Rudy takes it foul towards right field, and that's what he does so often. He takes a lot of pitches fair to right field. Well, the Minnesota Twins are keeping their game alive tonight. The Twins scored 2 in the ninth to tie Toronto 3-3. And that game's an extra innings at Minnesota. Our game in Anaheim, California is in the California fifth, with the Orioles leading 2-0. McGregor, setting belt high, goes to first base, and Baylor dives hand first safely there. So McGregor, with moves getting kind of friendly with Baylor a number of times. For some reason, we've yet to have a report from the Kingdome tonight on the Yankees-Seattle game. Of course, that's the place where weather is no problem since they play indoors. The only report we've had from the Kingdome is on the 2 starters, Ed Figueroa against the Mariners' Paul Mitchell. Rudy's still waiting. Now the 1-1 pitch. He swings and doesn't get the off-speed hook. 1 ball, 2 strikes. McGregor knows full well that this guy is tough with men on. Now Singleton gives up all of the right field line, however, to Rudy. A 1-2 pitch. Baylor runs. A fly ball to center field. Harlow makes the catch. Baylor's at second. The throw coming back, and it is in time. They double up Don Baylor. It went Harlow to Dower to Eddie Murray on Rudy's fly ball. Baylor was running. When Harlow made the catch in straightaway center field, Baylor was at second base. In fact, he was standing on the bag. Then he turned the body, tried to rush back to first base. Harlow threw strike 1 to Dower. Dower threw strike 2 to Murray for the double play and out number 2 on Baylor. The base is empty, 2 gone. And here is third baseman Carney Lansford. The curve is a strike for McGregor. So now twice tonight, in fact, in the last 2 innings, the Angels have not had good base running. Fastball bounced towards short. Charged by Belanger. From back of the grass, he throws over the head of Eddie Murray. It went high over Eddie Murray's head. Hit the box seat railing about 5 feet beyond the Orioles dugout. Belanger's been charged with a throwing error. And when's the last Belanger. Brian Downing is the batter now. Right-hand swinging catcher. Lansford with a 2-out lead from first. McGregor's soft curve is outside. Downing led off the Angel third and rolled out Belanger to Murray. Orioles lead 2-0 on back-to-back home runs in the fourth inning by Murray and DeFince. Scott McGregor's 1-0 deal. Too low. 2 balls, no strikes. His 24th start into his 13th win. Into the right-hand swinger. High drive to right field. Singleton breaks to his left side, way back and right, reaches up, makes the catch for the last out. So past the 5th inning now. It's the Orioles 2, the Angels nothing.
Let's take a look at the leading pitchers now in baseball. First in the American League, as far as victories are concerned, it's Ron Guidry of the Yankees, 17-2. Frank Tanana, California, 16-7. Caldwell, Milwaukee, 15-7. Flanagan, Baltimore, 15-11. Torres, Boston, 14-6. Sorensen, Milwaukee, 14-8. Splitoff, Kansas City, 14-10. And Palmer of Baltimore, 14-11. In the National League, Vita Blue, San Francisco, 16-6. Necro, Atlanta, 15-12. Terry, San Diego, 14-5. Grimsley of Montreal, 14-9. His teammate Rogers, 13-7. Hooten of the Dodgers, 13-8, and his teammate John, 13-9. Earned run average leaders in the American League: Guidry of the Yankees, 1.79. Matlack, Texas, 2.21. Caldwell, Milwaukee, 2.36. Palmer, Baltimore, 2.61. Gold, Minnesota, 2.69. ERA leaders in the National League: Vukovic, St. Louis, 2.22, but he pitched tonight. I think he lowered that. Rogers, Montreal, 2.35. Swan of the Mets, 2.38. Blue Giants, 2.67. And Licky of the Giants, 2.73. In the strikeout department, the American League: Nolan Ryan, California, 197. Guidry of the Yankees, 191. Flanagan, Baltimore, 127. Leonard, Kansas City, 126. And Eckersley, Boston, 112. National League: Richard, Houston, 230. Necro, Atlanta, 187. Seaver of the Reds, 161. Manifusco, San Francisco, 136. And Blue of the Giants, 135.
Well, here are the 5-inning totals from Anaheim, California tonight. The Orioles 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error. The trailing Angels, no runs, 2 hits off McGregor, no errors afield for California. In the Orioles 6th inning now, Pat Kelly, Ken Singleton, and Eddie Murray. Here's a pro football exhibition final. The Washington Redskins beat the Colts tonight, 17-16. Knapp starts his motion and makes his first pitch to Kelly, who bunts, torques him out. Knapp is up with it, throws to first, not in time. Kelly beat his high throw, even though Rudy remained on the bag and was doing a toe dance at the bag. Kelly lays down a bunt, and a successful bunt to get an infield hit after he had struck out his first 2 at bats. 4 hits off Knapp tonight, half the 4 on homers by Murray and DeFince. Stands at first. He'll be held by Rudy. And into the batter's box, right fielder Ken Singleton. Knapp with a check of Kelly. On he comes to Singleton. He's at the knees. He's over the plate. Strike 1 call. Now, when the Orioles played 2 games here in June, they depended on Don Stanhouse to be involved in both wins. Stanhouse won 1 game coming out of the bullpen, saved another game coming out of the bullpen. So far tonight, young Oriole left-hander and California-bred Scott McGregor has not needed bullpen help. He's been outstanding as he's given up just 2 hits through 5 innings at work. The 1-0 pitch is in the dirt. Oh, what a job Downing did to come up with it. He went hopping around, bouncing around, and dug it out. 2 balls, no strikes. Knapp with a struggling start, straightened out in the 2nd. In fact, by the 3rd inning, he had struck out 5 batters. wide lead by Kelly at first base. Singleton has to wait as Knapp gets acquainted again with Kelly's lead on a toss to Rudy. Now the 2-0. That is outside. Ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Again, gets himself a very good lead on the 3-0. Singleton fouls it back. They green lighted him, and he had a late swing to a low fastball. 3 balls, 1 strike. Well, it's not 3-1. McCoy just waved up here to the press box and said it's not 3-1, it's 2-2. We won't have a 6 to the plate, but we will have a Knapp toss to first base again. Knapp's 2-2 pitch. Kelly is running. The pitch is lofted high and foul and way back. Well, the first report has just come in from Seattle. We had no report until this one. The game is in the bottom of the 5th. The Yankees lead Seattle 1-0. The first 2 innings at the Kingdome were scoreless. The Yankees did get a run on the 3rd. The teams have been scoreless since. Seattle batting in the home 5th and behind 1-0. Ed Figueroa against Paul Mitchell. Kelly, who just had a bunt single, leads again at first base. Knapp with an eye over to Kelly, and now an eye into his catcher Downing. The 2-2 pitch, Kelly stays, and the pitch is a 2-hopper to second. The throw to the bag for 1. The throw to first. It went short to second base. To Anderson, the shortstop, and then to Rudy to double up Singleton. So the Angels get into the double play column for the first time tonight. The Orioles had a few themselves. With 2 out in the 6th inning, let's pause for station identification on the Orioles Baseball Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Home run swinging, and native son of Los Angeles, Eddie Murray. Hard stuff. He whacked foul on the ground by his first base coach, Jim Fry. Murray took Chris Knapp just as we had a scoreless game. Took Chris Knapp deep over the fence in right field for about a 400-foot home run with 1 out and the bases empty in the 4th inning. That gave the Orioles a 1-0 lead. Now the strike 1 pitch drilled high to deep left. Redmond is pacing back. Now he begins to circle under it, and in deep left has it for the last out. In the middle of the 6th inning, Baltimore 2, California nothing.
Word in from Kansas City is that throwing errors by Pete McCock and Fred Pytak led to 4 unearned runs tonight, allowing the Texas Rangers to pull within 4.5 games of the American League West lead with a 4-3 victory over the Kansas City Royals. In the first, Mike Hargrove and Jim Sundberg singled, and first baseman Lecoq threw wildly to second the grounder, allowing both runners to score. Bobby Bonds opened the 4th with a single, then took second base when shortstop Freddie Pytak threw wildly to first. Bonds took third when Richie Zisk reached first with a pass ball by Darrell Porter after Zisk struck out. John Lowenstein followed with an RBI single, and Toby Howard knocked in the final run with a ground out. Doc Medich allowed 8 hits, struck out 4 in upping his record to 7-6. Rich Gale took the loss. He is now 13-5. So if the California Angels lose to the Orioles game tonight, it would be a virtual tie for first place, with Kansas City and California deadlocked for the lead in the American League West.
Well, there's going to be another of those fun-filled SK bullpen parties at Memorial Stadium when Sunday, August the 27th rolls around. That SK bullpen party begins that day at 12:30, right before the Orioles face Seattle. Well, there's going to be another of those fun-filled SK bullpen parties at Memorial Stadium when Sunday, August the 27th rolls around. That SK bullpen party begins that day at 12:30, right before the Orioles face Seattle. taking on Scotty McGregor as we're in the Angels' sixth inning. Curve is a strike, bent to the knees. Anderson picked up the Angels' first hit of the evening with one out in the third. Strike one delivery by McGregor. Soft curve is inside, low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tomorrow night we'll be here with a ball game featuring Jim Palmer against Paul Hartzell. McGregor down and in, 1-1. Strike called, inside edge, 1 ball, 2 strikes. So McGregor has sawed off 1 edge for strike 1, and now the inside edge for strike 2. Anderson, a 2-14 right-hand batter, bends quite a bit from the knees and really has those feet spread out. Swings and lofts a high foul ball towards left field. It makes the seats in left. 2 runs, 4 hits, the Orioles lead. The trailing Angels, no runs, only 2 hits off McGregor. McGregor has his family and a lot of close friends in the ball yard tonight. Down comes Scotty, 1-2. High, 2-2 the count. Just a great evening, a beautiful evening in Southern California. Clear skies, big moon. 2-2 to Anderson. Change up, grounded to third, right at the Sensei near the bag. He cuts loose a put-out throw, and Anderson dives. He's gone third to first. Several of the Orioles, of course, spent the off day in different ways. We were down at Newport Beach mostly yesterday, and out near the ocean last night, and what a great scene it was. Full moon, bright skies. Temperatures last night, about 8 or 9 o'clock in the high 60s. Here's Rick Miller, the center fielder. Runs up to bunt and pushes it right at McGregor. He sent a looper right at McGregor's chest on the bunt attempt. McGregor just took 1 step forward, and he was right there for the grab. 2 away. Miller with his chin hanging right down in his chest, pacing over to the Angel dugout. He leaves the field, and Dave Chalk comes to the batter's box. Chalk, a right-hand batter, taking a strike at his chest. Chalk choking up quite a bit from the knob of the bat. Chalk is slide to left, line to short. The 1-strike delivery is high, 1 ball, 1 strike. When Chalk lined a high shot towards short, Belanger had a leap high in the air to make the grab, and did indeed. Base is empty. In the bottom of the 6th inning with 2 out, it's a 1-0 Oriole lead. A 2-0 Oriole lead. And a 1-1 pitch by McGregor. Just inside, almost took 1 hand off. 2 balls, 1 strike. Now he's going to rock and work again. Foul back with a late swing. 2-2 the count. The only inning which shows any runs is the Oriole 4th on homers, solo shots by Eddie Murray and Doug DeCinces. Angels had a hit in the 3rd, a hit in the 5th. The 2-2 to the right-hand batter. A ground ball towards the shortstop. Belanger gets to it to his glove side, throws out Chalk, and that's the 6th inning. The Orioles in the 7th inning will bat to Sensei, May, and Dower. Let's go to the 7th. Baltimore 2, California nothing.
Glenn Adams doubled with 1 out in the 10th inning tonight to drive in Hoskins Powell with the winning run. Give the Minnesota Twins a 4-3 victory over the Toronto Blue Jays. With 1 out, Powell singled off reliever Tom Murphy, who's now 4-9. Adams then doubled off the wall in right center to score Powell. Reliever Jeff Holley 1-1, throws 4 innings, allowing 2 hits. The Twins scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning off Murphy to tie the score 3-3. Willie Norton drove in 1 run with an infield grounder, and Rod Carew singled in the other. Minnesota's first run came in the 2nd on Roy Smalley's triple and Butch Waniger's single. Toronto got 3 runs in the 6th. Roy Howell opened with a double, then scored on Horton's single. John Mayberry's single sent Horton to second. Then both runners advanced on a sacrifice bunt by Al Wood. Willie Morton scored on the ground out by Dave McKay, and Gomez singled in Mayberry. That final from Bloomington, Minnesota. The Twins beat the Blue Jays 4-3. And former President Gerald Ford led a field of 221 golfers off the tee Friday in the second annual Danny Thompson Memorial Tournament in Sun Valley, Idaho. Before 200 onlookers, Ford took a bogey 5 on the first hole, then chipped from the rough for a par 3 on the second. But he lost his golf ball and picked up on the third for no score. Danny Thompson, who played with the Minnesota Twins and Texas Rangers, died of leukemia in 1976. The two-day event is expected to raise $75,000 for the Leukemia Research Fund.
Well, the last time Doug DeCinces batted, he delivered his 21st home run of the year to give the Orioles a 2-0 lead, which they still have, as Doug begins the top of the seventh. 21 home runs, 51 RBIs, and his batting average 265. Right-hander Knapp into Doug. Check swing on a high, hard one. Did he check it in time? He did, says first base umpire Palermo, helping out plate umpire McCoy. And about 25,000 Angel fans disagree. Red Sox batting in the sixth inning at the Oakland Coliseum, tied 2-2 with those A's. The 1-0 pitch. Grounded hard to third, right along the line. Fielded deep by Lansford, and he throws out to DeCinces. Lansford had to cut loose a long throw along the foul line of third base, and maybe 4 strides back of the bag. DeCinces gone corner to corner. One away in the seventh. Here's Lee May. We knew about the Yankee game at Seattle. The Mariners were batting in the fifth inning, trailing the Yanks 1-0. It's Figueroa against right-hander Paul Mitchell. Now it's right-hander Chris Knapp to the right-hand cut to Lee May. Here's a swing and a miss. Strike one. May struck out in the second, fouled to the catcher in the fourth, so he's 0 for 2 tonight. Knapp with a big windup and his strike one pitch. He threw it hard and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. I tell you, Knapp had a great fastball going for him and a hard slider in the early innings. So 1-1 to May. Change-up foul back of the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Final just in. Twins win the game in the 10th inning 4-3 after they tied the game with 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth. Minnesota 4, Toronto 3. Jeff Holley won it. Tom Murphy lost it for Toronto. The next pitch to Lee May. Swing on and miss. He's a strikeout victim for the second time tonight. He's out number 2 in the seventh. That's the first strikeout for Chris Knapp since the third inning. So give Knapp 6 strikeouts. 2 away to bring up Rich Dower. The only American League games going on are on the West Coast. 1 in Seattle, 1 in Oakland, and the Oriole game here in Anaheim. With the bases empty and 2 gone. A swing and a miss, and that's as good a fastball as Knapp has cut loose tonight. No balls, 1 strike to Rich Dower. The next deal to Dower. Line drive to center field, and it's in there for a base hit in front of the charging Rick Miller. First hit for Dower tonight, and number 5 off Knapp. Of course, a lot of the Orioles have loads of friends in the ballpark tonight. So many of them are from this section of California. Rick Dempsey, Eddie Murray, Doug DeCinces, Dower, who just got a ripping line single to center. Mark Belanger's at the plate, trying to move along Dower with 2 outs. High fastball makes it ball 1. Belanger struck out on the third, popped up in the fifth. Rudy Holding, where Dower leads at first base. The 1-0 to Mark. Swings, and it's strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 runs, 5 hits, the Orioles lead. The Angels, they trail, no runs, 2 hits. Sherman and Sid Spector out here on a vacation, both from Pikesville. Look to the runner. Nap to the plate, 1-2. Inside. He cut that one loose pretty good. 2-2 the count. The brief look that way by Knapp. Then he comes again. Now the count is full as he threw low. This night so far belongs to the pitchers and also in part belongs to DeCinces and Murray with home runs. 3-2 pitch, the runner goes. The pitch is inside. Belanger gets a 2-out walk. First walk given up by Knapp since he passed Harlow and Singleton in the first inning. So he has struck out 6. He walks Belanger to issue his third pass of the ball game. Dower stands at second. Belanger talking with first base coach Jim Fry at that bag. And the batter, Larry Harlow. All's been quiet on both bullpen fronts tonight. There's no movement right now in the Angel pen. To one runner, that's Dower. Knapp to the plate. Check swing, ground foul, and that might have also broken Harlow's bat. It has. Harlow got crowded and jammed up and in, waved his bat, tried to twist it away, and could not in time. And he's got to go for a different piece of wood. Strike one to Harlow with Belanger at first, Dower at second, 2 out in the top of the 7th. And we'll be here at 10:25 Eastern Time for our broadcast hour. Jim Palmer seeking his 15th win against California's Paul Hartzell. Then Sunday, the young arm of Dennis Martinez against the fireballer Nolan Ryan. Then early Sunday night, it's a flight up to Oakland, California. I would imagine a couple of the guys in traveling party, if we get there in time, might just go to San Francisco, and why not? Now Harlow's ready. Swings and fouls it off to the third base side. No balls, 2 strikes. Orioles have done quite well against Western Division teams like the Angels. Western teams have downed the Orioles 21 times. But the Orioles have picked up 34 wins against the West. Strike 2 to Larry Harlow is 2 outs, just outside. The Orioles, since the All-Star break, are 4 games above 500. They've won 19, lost 15. On the road this year, they're a game under 500. They've won 31, dropped 32. Dower and Belanger lead with 2 outs. On the 1-2 pitch, Harlow sends a high chopper to the charging second baseman. Shaw throws to first. He's there in time, and Harlow's the last out. Redmond, Bostock, and Bailey will bat in the bottom of the 7th with a score of the Orioles 2, the Angels nothing.
All the games are over in the National League. Again, here are the finals. Cincinnati in the afternoon beat the Cubs 8-3. At night, San Diego 3, Montreal 2. Giants beat the Phillies 6-5. He paid for the Dodgers to beat the Mets 7-3. Pittsburgh 6, Houston 3. Cardinals over the Atlanta Braves 5-1. Now, here are your standings as of now after the completion of all the games on Friday. In the East, in the National League, the Phillies on top by 2 on the Cubs. Pittsburgh is 6.5, Montreal 7, St. Louis 14, and the New York Mets in the cellar 15.5 behind. In the West, the Dodgers on the Giants by 1, the Reds trail by 3, San Diego 9 back, Houston 15.5, Atlanta 16.5. Coming up on Saturday, afternoon games, the Dodgers playing at New York. Cincinnati is at Chicago. A twilight doubleheader will have Houston at Pittsburgh. Single night game, San Diego at Montreal, San Francisco at Philadelphia, and Atlanta at St. Louis. New Zealand's Chris Lewis outlasted 4th seed Raul Ramirez of Mexico 7-6, 6-7, 7-5 at Toronto on Friday in a grueling 3-hour battle to advance to the semifinals of the Canadian Open tennis tournament. Lewis will face either top seed American Eddie Dibbs or John McEnroe And that is dibs because he defeated McEnroe. Lewis took 5 straight games from Ramirez before the Mexican altered his style, switching from hard driving shots to soft lob, short bloopers, and drop shots.
Well, for the first 6 innings, it's been quite a pitching night for Scott McGregor. He's working on a 2-hit shutout. He'll work into the Angels' 7th inning to Merv Rettenmund, Lyman Bostock, and Don Bailey. Rettenmund with a slightly closed stance, going eyeball to eyeball with McGregor, and Scotty picks up the outside corner, strike 1 to Merv. Merv has grounded to second, picked up a walk, and been picked off by McGregor. McCoy's comeback a real good ear. McGregor watching Dempsey, his battery mate. Now comes charging to Rettenmund, who hands and doesn't get it. No ball, 2 strikes. In only 1 inning tonight has Scott McGregor faced more than the minimum number of batters. He faced 4 Angels in the 5th inning. Down the side, watching Dempsey's wigwag. In he comes. Fastball foul back this way. Still no balls, 2 strikes. McGregor faced 3 in the first, 3 in the second, 3 in the third, 3 in the fourth, then 4 in the 5th, and 3 last inning. The hits off McGregor, Anderson in the third, Baylor in the 5th. Twice. He's behind. No balls. 2 strikes. Takes outside. 1-2 the count. Rettenmund playing a little bit of a cat-and-mouse game with McGregor, backed out of the box and slowing down McGregor's strong tempo. McGregor about to rock, and here it comes again. Breaking ball, hit high towards right center. Singleton's got to gallop in and then coast over, goes to his right side and puts it away. Rettenmund retires on a fly ball to right center. Well, McGregor has taken care of Lyman Bostock 2 times tonight. Bostock a 305 left-hand batter, and real good with that bat. Swinger gets the plate. He's got a knee-high strike. Bostock has bounced the mound, slide to center. This season, Bostock 9 for 17 against Oriole pitchers like McGregor. Inside comes the curveball. McGregor winds, and now he deals. Here's a long drive deep to right field. Singleton's got to go to the warning pad and makes the grab right in front of the 362-foot mark. Bostock took McGregor a long way, but Singleton had room to deep right. 2 away in the California 7th. Don Baylor, the batter, batting .253. The Angel home run leader and the Angel RBI man. 24 home runs, 66 RBI. 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. Soft up low to Don Baylor, who has popped up in singles. The 1-0 to Baylor was 2 out. Foul back, 1 ball, 1 strike. The crowd in the ballpark tonight, 20,425. 1-1 coming from McGregor. Fastball foul back. Watch out, Ken. Right towards the booth. The Angels have now drawn at home more than 1,370,000. They've averaged better than 22,000 every home date.
the American League scoreboard. 4 innings to play. Yankees won Seattle 0. After 4, Boston and Oakland are tied 2-2. Major League home run leader Jim Rice has hit his 30th homer of the year. Came for the Bo Sox in the first with a made on base. Amateur golf, defending champion Beth Daniel of Charleston, South Carolina, is absent from today's round of the U.S. Women's Amateur Golf Championship. Cynthia Hill of Colorado Springs ended Daniel's one-year hold on the title with a one-off victory Friday in the quarterfinals at Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Kathy Shirk, the Canadian champion from Ontario, will meet Hill in the semifinals. Attorney Ellis Rubin says he'll file a lawsuit in federal court Monday seeking to stop the 200-mile TV blackout of the heavyweight title rematch between Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks. The fight is scheduled for September 15th in the state-owned Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. In the past, Rubin has tried in court without success to stop blackouts at NFL games. The National Football League now lifts its blackout on games which are sold out in advance. Rubin says he cannot commit himself to dropping the suit. He will guarantee a similar voluntary lifting of the blackout for the Ali Spinks bout. The Miami lawyer says he sympathizes with the local investors who put up $3 million to land the fight, but thinks they'll get a big gauge whether the blackout is lifted or not. David Pearson turned in the fastest practice time Friday for Sunday's 400-mile NASCAR Grand National Car Race at Cambridge Junction, Michigan.
The 8th inning in a 2-2 tie, Dempsey, Kelly, and Singleton. And before they face right-hander Chris Knapp, let's pause for station identification on the Orioles Baseball Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Anaheim Stadium in Southern California. Dempsey takes on the tall right-hander Chris Knapp. He was behind 2-0. Now he's involved in a tie game. Here's a line hit to left field as Dempsey jumps on Knapp's first delivery and ropes it to left to give the Orioles a hitting start in the 8th. The low line drive went right by third baseman Lansford and rolled to left field. Hit number 1 for Dempsey tonight, who had gone 0 for 3. And it brings back Pat Kelly for his 4th trip of the ball game. The last 2 nights, Anaheim Stadium had been a horror stadium for the entertaining Angels against the Red Sox, with misplay after misplay and defensive errors costly for the Angel cause as the Red Sox took advantage of them to gain 2 wins. Tonight, this has been a horror ballpark defensively for the Orioles. The pitch to Kelly. Pat strokes a high foul, left side, and strike 1. The Orioles have committed 3 errors, and 2 errors last inning very costly, allowing the Angels to tie the game. Kelly 1 for 3 tonight. He punted his way on in the 6th inning for a hit after Knapp struck him out of the 1st and struck him out again in the 3rd. Now Knapp gets acquainted with Dempsey's lead with a lob toss over to Rudy. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Orioles, plus 3 errors. 2 runs, 4 hits for California. Strike 1 coming to Kelly. Front, towards the third baseman. Lansford has it near the mound. Throws to first and just got it there. He beat Kelly by a step and no more. Kelly sacrificing Dempsey to second with 1 out to bring up Ken Singleton. Now Singleton tried to cash in Dempsey and send the Orioles ahead again. The game was scoreless for the first 3. Eddie Murray and Doug DeCinces walloped solo back-to-back home run from the 4th. The Orioles held on behind the stylish McGregor, led 2-0 until the Angels just tied it in the bottom of the 7th. Now it's the top of the 8th with a lead run at second base, and that's Dempsey. And action now begins in the Angel pen with left-hander Dave LaRoche. Fastball stroke high, deep to left. Back is Redmond, and he runs it down on the warning path. What a great running catch Redmond just made. Curve was over towards the left field line, but he was not deep. He went way back to the warning path, made the catch over the head, and then bounced against the left field fence with the ball in the glove. Dempsey has to stay at second as Singleton chased third baseman Lansford and catcher Downing. We are very pleased tonight to have this Oriole California Angel game beamed all around the world on American Forces Radio. Now the Angels have decided we're not going to pitch to Eddie Murray. His first base is open. That's where we're going to put Eddie. Knapp has just thrown outside ball one. They don't want to pitch to Murray's left-hand power. They'd rather go to Doug DeCince's right-hand power. This ball two. 2 balls, no strikes. So with 2 more pitches, the Orioles will have runners at first and second with 2 out. Here's ball 3. Knapp about to throw ball 4, and he does very wide. Eddie easily flips the bat away and trots to first base. Knapp has now walked 4 Oriole batters tonight. DeCince's only hit tonight, a long home run to left field in the 4th inning, his 21st of the year. Dempsey at second, Murray at first, 2 out in the top of the 8th. We've got a 2-2 standoff in progress. Around to left and deep out there is Rettenmund. Miller goes a couple of steps toward left center. Here's a check swing on a high fastball. Ball 1. The Orioles with DeCince trying to bring in Dempsey at least from second base. With a look back to Dempsey. His 1-0 delivery is the strike. He threw a fastball knee high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Many times tonight, Chris Knapp has thrown good, low, hard strikes to the knees, and he just did again to Doug DeCince. Dempsey with a walking lead at second, Murray with his walking lead at first, Knapp with a 1-1 toss, foul back, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Orioles tonight involved in their 3rd game of this Western road trip with still 5 more to play. 2 more at Anaheim, California. 3 still left to go in Oakland before coming home to Memorial Stadium a week from tonight. Rudy very deep at first base and well inside the line. So Eddie Murray gets himself 2 extra quick steps into his lead. Ahead of Murray, Dempsey trails off second. A 1-2 delivery. Fly ball straight away center field. Miller romping in, and he's there, and there's the last out. Bottom of the 8th inning coming up. The Orioles and the Angels are tied 2-2.
Right-handed pitcher Darren Miller of the California Angels was taken off the disabled list Friday. Dave Frost, also right-hander, was optioned to the Angels Farm Club in Salt Lake City. Miller has a 4-0 1-loss record and earned run average of 2.04. Frost has a 3-4 record and a 3.04 ERA, but he's been bothered by muscle spasm in his back and spent last week in the hospital. Tennis note from Cleveland. Second-seeded Dick Stockton has advanced to the semifinals of a Cleveland tennis tournament with a 6-1, 7-6 victory over Pascal Portes of France. Stockton next faces 19-year-old Van Winitsky, who defeated Rick Fischer 6-3, 6-4 in their quarterfinal Friday. Saturday's other semifinal will be 6-seeded Mike Cahill against Peter Sergel of Austria. Cahill bound Eric Van Dillen 6-2, 7-5, while Sergel scored a 6-3, 6-1 triumph over Christopher Rajavazelin of France. Football note, National Football League Commissioner Pete Rozelle says former Miami Dolphin defensive lineman Randy Crowder and Don Reese are eligible to play this season. Both were sentenced to a year in prison last August 10th for selling drugs. They served their term in the Dade County, Florida stockade and are on 5-year probation for selling a pound of cocaine to an undercover cop. The Dolphins waived any claim to them at the time of their arrest. If they sign with an NFL team, Rozelle says they must donate $5,000 of their first-year salary to a drug rehabilitation facility in the state of Florida.
The Angels tied the game in the bottom of the 7th. They now bat against Scott McGregor in the home end of the 8th with Brian Downing, Jim Anderson, and then Rick Miller. This This is the lower third of the California Angel batting order. Downing, a right-hand batter, sets into a slightly open stance as a right-hand swinger. The curve by McGregor is thrown high, ball one. Downing has grounded to short, slide to right tonight. McGregor flips the 1-0 pitch that popped up to shallow right field. Racing forward is Ken Singleton. He is waiting for it to come down, and he puts it away. Downing is out number one. Here's Anderson, the shortstop. Like Downing, also a right-hand batter. The Red Sox have just gone ahead of the Oakland A's with a run in the sixth. The game is in the seventh. Boston leads the A's 3-2. Curveball, low, ball one. Jim Anderson singled in the third, grounded out in the sixth, batting against McGregor with one gone in the bottom of the eighth. McGregor's 1-0 pitch. Strike called as he changed up with a soft breaking ball. Seattle batting in the bottom of the fifth at the Kingdome, and the Yankees lead the Mariners 1-0 behind Ed Figueroa. McGregor's 1-1 pitch. Ground ball to third by the glove of DeCinces. Base hit to left field. That was a hard grasshopper. DeCinces tried to get it to his left side, but really didn't have a chance. A hard bounding single to left. So Anderson's due for three in the game. Hit number 5 off McGregor, and Rick Miller the batter. Tried to bunt his way on in the sixth inning and bunted right to McGregor after bouncing into a third inning double play. 2-2 tie in the Angel eighth. McGregor going right at Miller. Fastball bunted down third and foul. No balls, one strike. American League Finals tonight. Texas beat Kansas City at Royal Stadium 4-3, and a crowd of over 40,000 went home unhappy. Doc Medich beat Rich Gale tonight at Kansas City. Medich 7-6 for the win. Gale 13-5 for the defeat. Miller waiting, strike one. And McGregor deals him. Here's a low line drive to left, and that's a base hit. Anderson with the ball in front of him stops at second base. So the Angels, who tied the game last inning, scoring twice, as the Orioles committed 2 errors as well, now have a lead run at second with only one out in the bottom of the eighth, and they bat second baseman Dave Shaw. Until the seventh inning, McGregor had only given up 2 harmless singles, to Anderson in the third, to Baylor in the fifth. The Angels tied the game last inning, and now they have back-to-back one-out singles in the eighth. 0 for 3 in the game. He chokes up as much as anybody in the American League. Anderson scoots off second. Miller leads off first. McGregor watching both runners. His curve is fouled off to the right in the seat. Milwaukee played before a home crowd tonight of over 27,000, and Bambi's Brewers blanked the Tigers 2-0. Larry Sorensen won his 15th game, and the Tiger loser was Dave Rosen. Chicago had an easy night. The White Sox scored 4 in the first inning and then coasted to a 7-1 lead at Cleveland. McGregor with one pitch, a slight advantage to the waiting Chalk, and Chalk has waited too long and moved out. Now Chalk dug in again. Right-hand batter on the strike one pitch. Sends a ground ball to short. Belanger to Dower. There's one. Dower to Murray, a double play. And the Angels in the eighth inning are wrapped up neatly. At the end of 8, Baltimore 2, California 2.
Defensive tackle Joe Green of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he doesn't like to be called mean anymore, scheduled to start in the Saturday NFL exhibition game against the New York Giants. The report suggests his career may be in jeopardy because of a back problem. Pittsburgh Press reported Friday that Green sought medical attention this week for a back disc condition. But according to another report in the edition of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for Saturday morning, Green's ailment does not require surgery. Later, of course, the Steelers spokesman is saying, I can't conceive of us being without Joe Green this year if he's physically able, and I expect him to be. Rookie running back Elvis Peacock of Los Angeles Rams 1978 #1 draft choice underwent surgery for torn ligaments in his left knee Friday and will be lost for the remainder of the season. Peacock, a 6'1", 220-pound speedster from Oklahoma, was injured in the Rams' 26-7 exhibition victory at Seattle Thursday night. Also in the Seahawks game, starting running back Lawrence McCutcheon suffered a strained thigh muscle in his left leg, and backup middle linebacker Carl Eckern suffered strained ligaments in his left knee. The Rams left their training camp at Fullerton, California Friday, moved on to Long Beach, California, where they will practice all season. The new head coach, Ray Malavasi, who took over when George Allen was fired last Sunday, gave his players Friday and Saturday off. They resumed workout Sunday for their last exhibition game in Oakland. That's on Saturday night.
Well, the Orioles trying to see if they can go back ahead again as they bat Lee May, then Dower and Belanger in the Oriole ninth. They did lead 2-0 from the fourth inning into the bottom of the seventh when the Angels made it a 2-2 game. Both starting pitchers still on the scene, and here comes the Angel right-hander Chris Knapp, and there's a check swing foul that almost hit Rick Dower in the on-deck area. Knapp jammed Lee May, and his bat was moving. He tried to yank it away, and the foul ball went ripping right by Dower. May 0 for 3 against Knapp tonight. In fact, the California right-hander has struck out Lee May twice. Knapp has recorded 6 strikeouts. Here's his strike one pitch. Changeup is inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. May took a third strike in the second, fouled to the catcher in the fourth, and then went down on swing, striking out in the seventh. So 1-1 to May. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tall right-hander coming down again. Here's a line drive, base hit to left field, pulled right by the shortstop Anderson, and played by Rettenmund. Well, the Orioles had a hitting start provided by Dempsey last inning. Dempsey and Murray were later stranded with 2 outs. May yanks the base hit to left, and Dower comes to the plate. Oriole hit totals are 7 in the ball game. The Angels have accumulated 6. Dower has one of the Oriole base knocks tonight. Rudy right alongside Lee May's lead at first. The middlemen, Anderson and Chalk, both come in halfway. The set by Knapp. Dower turns. The pitch is a knee-high strike. He laid off the low strike. No balls, 1 strike. Lansford at third base came right to the grass on Dower. And he's staying over to the line and at the grass again. Nobody gone now in the Oriole ninth, as May has a 2-step lead. And Knapp makes a strike 1 pitch. Dower bunts towards the first baseman. Rudy waits for Dower to come at him, and then Rudy tags him out, maybe 30 or 35 feet from the plate. Dower applied the brake, and then Rudy took 1 or 2 more steps right at Dower and tagged him out. So Dower sacrifices. He has May at second with 1 away. Belanger's going to be called back. And the Orioles' premier pinch hitter will swing for Belanger. And that's the Crow, Terry Crowley. Crowley now being announced in the ball game. Crowley has been announced. Cal Ripken has trotted on the field. He went right to second base and had something to say to Lee May. Orioles 2, Angels 2 in the Oriole ninth inning. Before turnout tonight on this great Friday evening of 20,425. Chris Knapp, 6'5" right-hander, looks behind him to May. Now he goes to the Crow. Inside, letter high, ball 1. batting .254, has 15 hits for 59 trips. He's knocked in 9 runs. He's ahead ball 1. The set, the 1-0 pitch. Strike on the slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. So more than likely, the Orioles will send Garcia to short for Belanger when the Angels come up in the bottom of the 9th. The Orioles trying to make them come up behind. They've got a chance now if Crowley can cash in Lee May from second. 1-1 to the Crow. Strike 2. Belt high. He took the inside edge for the strike. Knapp threw hard early in the game, and he's still throwing fairly hard in the late inning. And while he's in trouble, Dave LaRoche is warming in the Angel bullpen. There's a right-hander with LaRoche, but we can't pick him up. 1-2 delivery, which Crowley swings and misses for the second out. Crowley bats for Belanger and has gone on strike. Give Chris Knapp 7 strikeouts in the game and bring up for the Orioles Larry Harlow. Harlow 1 for 3 in the game. He's also picked up a walk. 7 hits given up by Knapp. Now he has 7 strikeouts. And the Angels decide they're going to walk Larry Harlow like they walked intentionally Eddie Murray last inning with a runner at second and 2 out. Here's ball 1 to Harlow. So that means that Dempsey will be on the spot in just a moment. The 1-0 pitch, wide again, ball 2. With May at second base with 2 outs, Knapp has just thrown ball 3 wide to Harlow in the process of being intentionally passed. And as soon as he is, it'll be the 5th walk by Knapp, and there is ball 4. The last 2 Knapp passes have been of the intentional variety. Now Dempsey. Rick, after going 0 for 3, lined a base hit to left in the 8th. May stands at second. Harlow right around the bag at first with 2 outs. The pattern of the 9th, exactly what the 8th inning was. Dempsey had a leadoff hit. Kelly sacrificed him. May had a leadoff hit here in the 9th. Dower sacrificed him. Pitch to Dempsey. Swings. There's a fly ball deep to right field. It's on top of the line, and it bounces foul. Foul by seriously no more than 1 foot. Right down the right field line. Hung on top of it like a rainbow shot, and when it came down, it was just off the line. The other evening in Seattle, Eddie Murray came oh so close to a grand slam home run. Rick Dempsey just came oh so close to an extra base hit. So May is back at second. Harlow returns to first. And Dempsey's back in the batter's box. 2 on, 2 away. The game tied 2-2. Strike 1 pitch. Dempsey swings. That's strike 2. Mays is also pretty fair at second. Dempsey keeps waving, and now he has the bat cocked. In comes Knapp. High. 2-2 the count. Well, I hope we can have so many of these type of games for you when the Orioles are back after this West Coast trip. Just a week from tonight, they're back home for an extremely long homestand. Knapp judging the downing sign. 2-2 to Dempsey. Fouled way back and out of play. He took a late swing but got a piece of the high fastball. Knapp has had problems this year going the route. In fact, in 20 previous starts, Knapp has only finished 4 games. He does have 11 wins. He's lost 7. Lee May, who had the lead-off hit, walks off second. Harlow, who just received the intentional walk, pacing off third. Another 2-2 pitch with 2 out. Here it comes to Dempsey. Inside corner, strike 3 called. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Orioles 2, Angels 2.
Another exhibition game, as we mentioned a while ago, the Redskins beat the Colts by 1 point, 17-16, and at Miami's Orange Bowl, quarterback Bob Greasy threw 2 touchdown passes, and linebackers Larry Gordon and Kim Brohamper contributed key plays to give the Miami Dolphins a 30-22 exhibition win over the Minnesota Vikings. With the score tied 9-9 in the third quarter, Greasy completed a screen pass to big Norm Bolage, who powered 27 yards for the score. The Vikings came back when Dolphins rookie cornerback Gerald Smalls deflected a Fran Tarkington pass, and Ahmad Richard picked it out of the air for a 73-yard score. But Rick Danmeyer's extra point try was blocked by the 6'6", 245-pound Brohamper to give the Dolphins a 16-15 edge. The Dolphins then added an insurance touchdown when Gordon scooped up a Robert Miller fumble and ran 35 yards into the end zone for the score. Vikings came within a point again when Tommy Kramer threw a 20-yard scoring pass to Rashad. Again, the exhibition final, Miami defeats Minnesota 30-22.
We're going to put on quite an auction come Saturday afternoon, September the 2nd. It's an Oriole auction to benefit the Johns Hopkins Children's Center. It'll be held in the bullpen at Memorial Stadium beginning at 3 o'clock, Saturday, September the 2nd. Just a few hours before the Orioles meet the... Also be a picnic out in the bullpen. Items such as a portrait of Brooks Robinson, even a bat autographed by Rod Carew will be available. And it's all under the supervision of the Oriole wives. To his glove side. Murray gets to the bag, and Bostock is out.